Okay, so there's your 4 children with the congenital anomalies. Each one of
Right.
those had the congenital anomalies, and so when you got pregnant, and you were having your 5th child, were you a little worried that there would be congenital anomalies in your 5th child?
I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop, honestly. The running joke, I mean, of course, we have doctors that have been our doctors for years. The running joke is I have my Kyden, who he's my 20-month-old. He's perfectly healthy, other than he's got an allergic reaction to red food dye. But I don't know how to take care of a normal baby, you know.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah.
And he probably scares me sometimes more worse than the other 4, because I know to look for the respiratory failure and, you know, all that. And yeah, he hasn't done that yet. So he's developing normally. He's a little delayed in speech, but that's probably because he's got 4 siblings that try to talk for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a part of me that's waiting for that other shoe to drop. There, you know, there's the part of my brain that says, no, wait, this, you know, this can't happen.
It can't be true that he's healthy,
Right.
right? Well, I mean, you know, it's also, if you really think about it, I mean, it shouldn't have happened to you 4 times. It should, and I mean,
That's according, yeah. When we had Spencer, we were told that it would be like winning the lottery 10 times over, that we would ever have another child that had a defect, much less having a child with this, you know, with the same defect.
yeah,
Even though Spencer's was, you know, type H and Bryton's is type C, you know, having 2
still the same
fistula
fistula
babies.
area.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So,
And we still baffle doctors and, you know, don't understand. And, you know, the one thing you don't want to hear from a doctor is, wow, you have an interesting family. We'd like to look at you. Yeah, no, really.
yeah, well, I mean, I totally get that, but you know, with Shawn, I mean, it was like, I remember the doctor not meaning to, and it wasn't my doctor. It was one of the fellows that came in, and that was actually under the doctor. And he was very excited, and he was like, "Wow!" He's like, "I had never seen anything like this before. This is really exciting." And we're like, "Dude, this is our kid." It's like,
Yep.
you can't. I mean, I'm sure it's really, really neat for your career, and you know, for you to witness that. But I mean, it's an object to you. It's a child to us, and so yeah, I can imagine you know, I guess the reaction towards their excitement would be a little disconcerting. so,
Yeah. No,
so obviously dealing with several congenital anomalies, and of course congenital anomalies affect 1 in 30 families, or 1 in 30 children. In this case, it's not 1 in 30 families. It's, you know, it's 4 children in 1 family, and
right.
that's
The biggest,
I mean, a very, very high ratio, and I mean, I have to ask this, and I know it's going to be tough for you probably to answer, but I mean, you obviously have to put up a pretty strong front for your children, and be very, very strong for your children. But how do you deal with it? How are you dealing with it?
honestly, I don't know. I have people all the time asking me, and I do. I mean, I cry from time to time. But I've kind of basically taught myself not to, because, you know, Spencer, with his autism, he's extremely susceptible, and, you know, even if he senses mom's upset, you know, it rocks his world. So I'm just, you know, I'm not allowed to be, and I just try and roll with the punches the best I can, and, you know, keep looking for the next solution.
Yeah, yeah,
Rather than focusing on problems, focus on, okay, well, we know this is the issue, so what are we going to do to fix it, or what are we going to do to try and fix it or make it better? You know, I don't wear rose-colored glasses as far as, you know, knowing my children don't, you know, wishing their conditions away. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about building their quality of life.
yeah.
You know, how can I make it's not how to make it easier for me, for my husband. or, better, you know, it's about making things right for them, giving them the best quality of life they can have, even if that's limited.
Yeah. Well, you're a great mom. I want to let you
Yeah,
know
I
that.
try.
And if there's anything that I could say is, well, we can learn from each other, and I learn a lot from you, and the love and the dedication that you have for your family, and then not only that, but I mean, what I know of you is you just don't take care of your own family, right?
No, I wind up taking care of a little bit of everybody. I take care of my husband's mom and her medical issues, and I kind of fall into whoever needs me. I also manage a group here in the state of Texas for other TEF families to try and reach out and connect with them and let them know. The biggest thing for me was I spent 7 years dealing with it alone. You hear doctors tell you, oh, well, this is so rare, and, when Spencer was little, we were asked to leave churches, we were asked to leave restaurants, because we had a sick kid. We were kicked out of playgroup. I tried to do the whole, mommy and me thing, and, he had the barking cough, which is typical of the kids with PE fistulas. He's sick, get him away. And so we stayed pretty sheltered, and dealing with it alone, and then, hearing doctors tell you how rare and how, odd this is. It was just very uncomfortable. And if I can prevent, another TEF family, or any other family for that matter, from going through that and from feeling alone, that is probably got to be one of my biggest goals, because that is probably the most difficult, is feeling like you're the only one out there.
That's a very good point, and I felt the exact same way when we were dealing with Shawn and the conditions and everything else. And of course, that's a lot of the reasons why we started Shawn's Anomaly, was to really kind of provide that hope, if anything, the hope to other families, saying you're not alone, and
right.
And we're here, and we want to work together. And granted, I mean, we can't, as parents, like you said before, we can't fix it, we can't do it, but one of the things we can do is we can help each other cope through it, and be a part of that.
Well, and see, that's one thing. I mean, one thing I would like to get across to other parents is, it's okay. Just because our kids are, quote unquote different, it's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed. You don't feel like you shouldn't have to feel like you have to hide yourself or your kids. It's not something to be ashamed of. If anything, honestly, for me, it's something to be proud of. I'm proud of my kids.
Yeah.
We were told Spencer would never walk. He would never talk. He would never eat on his own. He died on the operating table twice. I've performed CPR on 2 of my kids, and that's a horrifying experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, don't be ashamed. Walk proud. Walk with your head high. And in addition to not feeling, you're not alone. Just because my kid may not have the same condition as your kid, we're special needs parents.
Yeah. Now, having 4 children with congenital anomalies, and dealing with that, your life is pretty much surrounded by dealing with doing the treatments and the medical treatments for your children. And you had mentioned that you homeschool your children because you have to work around the medical procedures.
I'm struggling how to learn how to do that. I'm not doing so great with that. We're seeking out some assistance to get some help.
Okay.
On how to learn how to do that better.
Yeah, so you're taking the responsibility of educating your children and medically taking care of. I'm assuming, and this is just my assumption, you don't get to go on a lot of vacations, do you?
No, actually, that would be awesome.
For more information about the journey, go to Shawn'sIronman.com.